phrased differently, every one of these. So you can't just try to memorize, oh, well, I'm always going to take the first sentence and do this to it. I'm always going to take the second part of the information and do this to it. It kind of all goes together. So you have got to find the pieces you need for the part that you're trying to work out. Okay, so let's say the larger of two numbers is 10 more than the smaller number. Okay, so obviously this problem, we're setting it up with a smaller number, larger number. Okay, 5 times the larger number is 40 more than 6 times the smaller. Find the numbers. All right, let's go back and look at the one we previously just did. Okay, so we looked at that first sentence and then we thought about doing x, 57 minus x, okay? And then, but we decided, no, maybe not. Maybe a little confusing because of the look on your head. So then we went to the second sentence. We used the second sentence to find the variables. Okay, but now on this one, this is what I'm saying. You can't just memorize, oh, I'm going to use the second sentence or I'm always going to use the first sentence. You've got to think it through. This time, if I read the first sentence, the larger of two numbers is 10 more than the smaller number. Can I define my variables with that sentence? Because it pretty clearly defines what I'm doing with each of them. Then if I keep going, 5 times the larger number is 40 more than 6 times the smaller, okay? Yes, I could probably define them here, but right there in that beginning part, it's going to be way better because that first sentence is so straightforward. Okay, so I'm going to define the variable. All right, we got smaller number, larger number. It doesn't matter which one you list first, which one you list second. I am never consistent. All right, so the larger of the two numbers is 10 more than the smaller. So which one has to be x? The smaller one has to be x. Okay, the larger is 10 more than the smaller, so my smaller has to be x, and then x plus 10. Okay, now you're going to write the equation. Okay, now I'm going to take a look at the second sentence to write my equation. So that's the part right there that I'm going to focus on. 5 times the larger number, okay? 5 times the larger number. All right, well, there's my larger number. So 5 times that, x plus 10, is, so then there's my equal sign, 40 more than 6 times the smaller. And so I don't care if you put the 40 first or whatever. Sometimes I just automatically will go 6x plus 40. If you wrote 40 plus 6x, it's going to be the exact same thing. All right, 40 more than 40 plus 6 times the smaller, so 6x. Okay, all in one variable. All right, now again, if you can write that and then not clutter it up when you go to solve, then you can just immediately start solving. So then here I'm going to go what? I'm going to go 5x plus 50 equals 6x plus 40. On this one, does it make more sense to subtract 5x from both sides? That'll keep my x positive, right? So if I did minus 5x here and minus 5x here, the x's cross out on the left-hand side, and that's totally fine. And then I would need to, what, subtract 40 from both sides? It doesn't matter which way I go and which way I move the x, just as long as I isolate it. All right, so over here, I'm going to get 10. 6x minus 5x is going to give me an x. It just solved a lot quicker there. I didn't have to divide by a negative. Okay, so x is 10. All right, so now I'm ready to solve. I know x is 10. Smaller number, I know 10 is the smaller number. Okay, so my answer, smaller number is 10, larger number, 20. Okay, so there's the answer. I guess my thing is, I don't want you just to memorize. Like, I want you to actually read and think about what you're doing and what it says. All right, because I don't want you to just memorize, oh, the first sentence is always going to give me this, or the second sentence is always going to do that. Let's go back. I was going to review a consecutive even odd integer, but it works out. I actually want to go back and look at number 3. Like, we're going to actually put it in our notes. Number 3 from the homework. I think it was number 3 from the homework. Yeah, number 3 was no solution. And almost everybody came up with a solution because you worked it, you were like, I think you wrote it correctly, and then you worked it out, and then it was like, oh my gosh, that doesn't make sense. So then you went back and adjusted the equation to force it to come out, okay? And so you got to trust what you're doing, okay? So I'm still going to call this a review of consecutive even odd, but consecutive, let's just say review of consecutive integers, even though it is a homework problem from number 3 from last night, or 3 nights ago, review consecutive integers. All right, so we're actually going to write the story problem out, and then so we can do the whole thing. All right, find 2 consecutive integers such that twice the lesser make sure I got the right question here. Twice the lesser integer increased by the greater is 50. Okay, so this one was consecutive integers. So that means what? My first one will be 1, or x. The next one will be x plus 1. The next one would be x plus 2. The next one would be x plus 3, because they're consecutive, right? Okay, so we're going to define the variables. How many do I have? I've only got 2. All right, so first integer has to be x. Second integer has to be the x plus 1. Okay, so I'm assuming at this point on the homework question, you were right there. Everybody wrote that down. That wasn't a problem. All right, and then we're supposed to write the equation. And my guess is you did write the equation correct the first time. All right, and then what I'm guessing is that when it didn't work out, you panicked, and then so you thought, oh, obviously my equation's wrong, so I got to go back and change the equation. Okay, now find 2 consecutive integers such that twice the lesser increased by, so that's a plus, by the greater is 50. Okay, so twice the lesser. Okay, so twice the lesser would be this, 2x. All right, increased by the greater, so my greater one is x plus 1, is equal to 50.
Mrs. Cole, Nolan got kicked out, and he told me to say that he got kicked out, and he's waiting to get back in.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I have hit the admit button 2 or 3 times on him, and he is not coming back in. Wonder why he's not. No, oh, because he's done it 3 times. So I've got 3 of them waiting. Okay. All right, that little noise right there should be he's in back in. Ask him if he's in, because I can't see my list. He looks like he's in. There he is. I see him. Okay, we're good. Okay, so how many people, can you remember? Did you write that for your first equation? I mean, I know that was like 4 or 5 days ago. You've slept since then. You probably don't remember. All right. On some of the work, I solved this. And then some people went over here and did something else. A lot of people went, oh, well, that doesn't work. So then I saw a lot of people put a set of brackets here and put a set of brackets here. I'm not going to do it because that's wrong. All right, but if you put a set of brackets here and you got a set of brackets here, then this worked out nice. Okay, but you can't just change the equation to make the answer come out nice. All right, so you gotta work it out. You have faith that you wrote that equation right. All right, x plus 2x plus x is 3x plus 1 equals 50, right? And then we're all going to subtract 1 from both sides. We all know to do that. 3x equals 49. 49 divided by 3. And that's where most of you panicked. All right, did we define the variables right? Yep. Did we write the equation right? Yep. Did we not make any mistakes? We did not. So what this gave me is 16 1/3. Okay, it says find 2 consecutive integers. Is this an integer? This is a rational number, isn't it? This is a rational number. That's why I had you memorize all the different numbers. It said find 2 consecutive integers. Can I find 2 consecutive integers with which this is true? I can't do it. That's why this one was a no solution. I can't do it. What they gave me for the problem, there is no such 2 consecutive integers that when you do that to it, when you take twice the lesser integer increased by the greater, you cannot get 50. Okay, so no solutions are legit in story problems. Are there very many of them? No. I mean, most of the time when they give you these type problems, there actually is going to be an answer. Okay, but just trust yourself. Because I can just tell by the way what you guys wrote down on your paper. You got down here and you was like, oh crap, this doesn't work. So then you went up here and you started messing with this to make it an integer down here. Okay, so there's just something else to keep in mind. Trust yourself. Okay, write everything out. So there we go. Define the variables, write the equation, and then that one turned out to be a no solution. Okay, now do we need, actually, what are we doing on time? It's only 2:14, so let's do some self-checking. All right, because obviously this is like really super easy when I stand up here and I define the variables and I write the equation for you. All right, so let's give you a problem and then I'm going to stop talking and let you attempt it on your own. Question is, which one do I want to do here? Let's try this one. Let's do the smaller of 2 numbers is 12 less than the larger number. If 6 times the larger number exceeds, did we do this one already? We didn't do this one already, did we? Let me see. I've got so many over here to choose from, I don't know which ones we've done, which ones we haven't. No, it's just really close to it. All right, exceeds twice the smaller number by 100, then find the numbers. Okay, we did one very similar to this, but the numbers are different. Twice smaller, there we go. All right, now I'm going to stop talking. All right, I want you to define the variables and write the equation. Actually stop after that point. Define the variables, write the equation, and then stop, and we'll check at that point to see if we're all right. At this point, we're good, right? Because it shouldn't take too long to find the variables and write the equation. All right, so define the variables. All right, so what do we got? We got larger number, smaller number, right? So larger number smaller number. Okay, so what did we let the larger number be? Grace? X. Connor, what do we let the smaller number be? X minus 12. Okay, then we wrote the equation. So write the equation. Watch this. Hey, Jackson, you out there? Sitting at home? Wide awake? Falling asleep?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay, tell me what you wrote for your equation.
6x equals x minus 12 plus 100.
Okay. Now, does he need to add anything else? Does he need to add anything else? Hasn't? And then multiply it by 2. That's the only part he's got to add, because right here it's twice the smaller number. So the word twice right there is the 2 times right here. All right, but exceeds by 100. So there we go. All right, so if you were able to define the variables and write the equation, then we're good to go. If you just messed up a little bit, then that's not too bad for the first time. All right, again, I'm not gonna, you guys know how to solve. I'm not gonna work it out. You didn't work it out. Let's do this in our notes to save some time. X equals 19 is what you should get if you wrote that equation and you solve it correctly. And then for an answer, then what? And X is supposedly the bigger number, so my larger number is 19, and then 19 take away 12 makes the smaller number 7. Okay. All right, this is going to save time, okay, this part. The algebra, I'm assuming you can do because you guys were pretty good at that back in December. All right, now let's try it again for another one for you just to practice, all right, without me talking and doing all the work. Okay, so let's try the larger of 2 numbers is 5 more than the smaller number. When I get tired of writing out the word number, I use a little number symbol. We're good there, though. 6 times the larger number is 90 more than twice the smaller. Find the numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to pause and give you the opportunity. Okay, are we good? I never know how long to pause. Okay, so the way we're going to define them, it's doing a lot of this larger number, smaller number, so that's how we're going to define them. All right, so let's do smaller number and larger number. Okay, so for the smaller number, Riley, what'd you do for the smaller number? Just a plain X. Okay, Gavin, what'd you do for the larger number? X plus 5. Okay, let's pick at somebody that's at home. Heidi, are you there? Hello, Heidi. Oh, hey, look. I think she's there. Heidi, are you there? Yep. Except I can't hear you. Turn the volume up. You unmuted your mic. Talk to me. She unmuted her mic. I'm not hearing anything. Okay, you have tech issues, but you're there because I saw you unmute your mic. Okay, Alex, Tom, unmute your mic for me. Okay, cool, you're there. Okay, what'd you write down for your equation?
6 times x plus 5 equals 90 plus 2x.
Yep, there we go. Oops, I wrote in that 20. What the heck? All right, she said 2x. All right, excellent. All right, 6 times the quantity, x plus 5, equals 90 plus 2x. All right, 6 times the larger number, so that's where this comes from, that's where the equal sign comes from. 90 more than is your 90 plus, and then twice the smaller is the 2x. Okay? So you ought to be self-checking. When we do this, you're self-checking, like, oh yeah, hey, I just got all that right. So if you got the last 2 examples right, you're good. If you made a silly mistake, hopefully you can now self-correct and go, oh yeah, I know why I didn't do what I should have done. All right, solving this, I believe x turns out to be 12. All right, unless of course I did something wrong. That makes then, since we defined x being the smaller number, that defines my smaller number as 12. And then if I add 5 to that, my larger number, is that going to be 17? Okay. All right, so we went over quite a lot of the consecutive integers in the homework. I did 5. Did we do number 6 too? I think we did number 6. All right, and then we ended up doing number 3 in the notes. So we've reviewed those consecutive integer, consecutive even, consecutive odd, consecutive integers quite a bit. All right, and then I've introduced a new thing where it's just larger number, smaller number. And technically, these things, the smaller number, larger number, I could even change up the story problem a little bit and it not literally talk about a larger number and a smaller number. It could talk about 2 other things, referencing numbers. Okay, so just kind of be used to that. I believe tonight's homework is a number problems. It's called number problems in a single variable worksheet. It's on the chapter 2 website. Okay, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom where the worksheets are. Everyone seemed to do a pretty good job finding those on the last one. All right, but tonight's homework is going to be better in the sense that everyone's going to write down, define the variables, and then put the variables there. And then write the equation, have the equation, solve it, and then put your answer somewhere. You don't necessarily have to come back over here. It depends on how you write it on your paper. Okay, but clearly, I do better at showing the work than you did on the last 2. All right, and had I been here on Thursday, I would have verbally told you what I just verbally told you here, but you did watch the video. All right, what you should watch this, because I said watch the videos, take notes. When you take notes from a video, absolutely everything in the video should be written down on your paper. Okay, and in the video, I did this. Okay, so you mimic exactly whatever you see, because just like you would, you're watching it as a video, but literally it's the same thing as watching me do it here. The only thing you're missing is the being able to raise your hand and ask a question. But I mean, it's still me talking and me working through a problem. So it's still the same thing. All right, so I think I'm done there. We're going about